Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we are going to be jumping down into the world of a banned protocol. We're going to be taking a look at the technical analysis on the 1 hour, 1 day and 1 week timeframes, sharing my thoughts and opinions on where I think banned could be going next. Now as I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out, linked in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out. Let's jump right down into today's video, kicking things off with that 1 hour time frame. So here we have banned paired up with USDT. We're using the BitGet spot exchange here. And for the most part, this most recent structure is very corrective. Let's go into a little bit of what's going on there. So we can see here that we are in a bearish structure. Okay, so you can see that with this change of characterization just here. This is basically a change from this bullish characteristic change that we saw a little while back as we had this little rally to the upside here. This is obviously on the back of a bearish change as well, which had a bullish one just before it. And of course, there was a bearish one before that. What this is basically telling us is the market cannot decide for banned which direction to necessarily go in. Okay, it means that you're not really getting confirmations with break of structures to confirm the trend direction, and instead you're just getting change of characterizations going from bearish to bullish to bearish to bullish to bearish again, right? And so it doesn't help us understand, you know, the overarching structure from a smart money concepts point of view. Now, of course, there are some interesting overlapping structures here. Okay, these overlapping structures tell us that we are in a short-term corrective move to the upside. Okay, we can see this also with the higher highs coming in here. As well, you can see this on a couple of different levels. There's actually these higher highs here. So we had this high, this was higher, this one was higher, but obviously didn't come anywhere near a trend line or anything like that. Then of course we come down from here. Again, we have the lower highs down this side, and of course the lower highs. Or the lower lows and the lower highs, right? So we can see that right inside there as well. So for the most part, we want to do some sense checks here. We want to see how high this actually pushed, because it looks like it fell short of where it needed to go. And we can see here, yeah, it came up to the 1-to-1, but not quite hitting it, right? So we know it's a little bit short, but actually, for the most part, it's pretty much done. So we know that this here is an A, B, C structure. Okay, let me pull this down into this low. Okay, so it's a three-wave corrective pattern. It's more of a WXY, but I use ABC for simplicity's sake. Then, of course, we have a three-wave correction to the downside. Again, we're going to check this. It looks like a three-wave move, but it could be something that turns into a five-wave move. It looks very steep and very impulsive on the way that these moves went down. You can see here that we end up tapping into the 1 and a little bit short on that 1.236 with this low over here. Ultimately, this is exactly where you would have expected price to go. Okay, it would have come right down into this low. So right in here, and you can see that yellow box, and you can see the wick coming down and right into the lower end of it. Okay, so nothing unusual about that. So it looked like it could have potentially gone down deeper. It didn't. It stayed right within its parameters of 3 waves. So for the most part, that means the next set of waves are to the upside, right? So our next move should be thinking about some move upwards. However, we do need to be a little bit cautious here because we are against equilibrium. This is going to be natural resistance. And we also find ourselves with the 200 exponential moving average, the 50 exponential moving average, and of course, the 50 SMA, the simple moving average. Okay, so at the moment, all of these are together. They can be turning into support or resistance. So a little bit of caution here. For this, though, it does look like we are finding ourselves in a continuation pattern here. Essentially, I would say that we probably do have to come down just a fraction more. And then I think we'll probably push on up above equilibrium. But I would expect a new lower high. I don't expect us to break above there, and I still think we are in a move to the downside overall. So all in all, I would expect us to kind of have some kind of three-wave pattern like this. And then all of this essentially would be wrapped up in a bigger three-wave correction. Now, for those who follow things like head and shoulder patterns, that's kind of where this is potentially heading. We bounce up and then we come back down and we break the neckline and so forth, right? So just bear that in mind. It could be a head and shoulder pattern by the time it actually completes and all that kind of stuff. So let's take this up into a daily time frame, right? So from the daily time frame here, you can see that we had the all-time high. Okay, that happened up here in April of 2021. So I'll go ahead and throw that on there. It was $23.30. Currently, right now, we're $1. It's looking quite nice and pretty aggressive on that kind of move to the upside. Now, from the previous bull market, the lows that we saw in March of 2020, note that it obviously did not bottom, with Bitcoin bottoming in December of 2018, right? It was 2 years later before Band actually, found its local bottom, and many altcoins were very much the same, with bear market lows being in March 2020. Okay, we can see this as an 11,000% move to the upside during that time. It's very since the bear market, though, what do we see here? Well, we can see a very aggressive sell-off to the downside. Now, we need to check a couple of things here because this is a potential issue for Band. So let's go ahead and take a look. If I can snap it, there we go. So in here, what have we done? Well, we've narrowly missed the 1.618, but we did come down to the 1.382. This essentially tells us that we're not yet finished with our corrections, but we are not impulsive to the downside, okay? And we are still potentially just in the Z wave, but I think we're getting close to that bottom. Now, if I take this and move it over to our X wave high, which will be over here, and this will give us an approximate range for where we think that's likely to go. Okay, so this essentially is already hitting the minimum expectations. Okay, I've already done that bit, but we still can come down deeper towards 42.4 cent. So if that is the case, then we can see a more decent price range for accumulation, because I do think we're going to see a really nice run to the upside. If we just take the current price and think about $23, we can see a 23x potential here. Of course, though, I think we'll go up significantly higher than potentially this as well. So we'll keep that in mind as we think about where that price prediction could go next. But for the most part, I suspect we still have further to the downside to go. In here, this is looking close to where it needs to be, but not yet where it is. Resistance is still here on the 50 EMA and the 50 moving average, with the 200 being our main trend filter, indicating that things are still bearish. We're bearish overall with confirmation from smart money concepts of the structures. So this is one that I think could be great accumulation later down the line that could allow us for a really good significant return on investment in the next bullish market. Ultimately, though, DCA is a great strategy. Just bear in mind, I'm not a financial advisor, I can't give financial advice, but personally, what I tend to do is a DCA model in and around these kind of Z-wave patterns when we're inside the zones like this, which essentially would be between 42.4 and $1.25. Anywhere in there seems like a good value place for DCA. Now, take this up into a weekly time frame. You can still see that we're heavily below the 50 EMA, the 200 EMA, and the 50 SMA. Essentially, they're being or suppressing the price action here of Band. Okay, so there's nothing too positive there, but for the most part, we find ourselves with a very overlapping ending pattern here within that Z-wave structure, and I suspect we have just a little bit further to the downside before we can see continuation to the upside. A good key price, I think, is going to be about 75 cent. If we go ahead and snap that on there, you can see 76.3, sorry. Previous wick high also turned into support. This could be where we actually find ourselves with our main consolidation range before getting a bit of a rally to the upside. Again, things can change quite a bit in the space, but for me, I think this is a great opportunity to get into what I think is going to be one of the most fantastic cryptos long term in the space. Ultimately, it's very similar to Chainlink in some of the things that it's trying to do. Obviously, is a little bit further behind in the, I guess, development, just because they are later to market than that of Chainlink, but I still think it's going to perform incredibly well. So if you're looking for an Oracle-based project, something that does very similar things to Chainlink and is still growing, then why not check out Band Protocol? Join us in the Discord server. We talk more about the fundamentals there. But ultimately, I think this is going to perform incredibly well on the longer term. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. But I'm going to wrap this video up right there. If you have found it useful and informative, smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out. Link is in the description below. Until the next one, have a fantastic day.